Welcome to Future Talk. On today's program, we're going to talk about new wellness tools. By new wellness tools, I mean new means of organizing health information and providing better access to it for doctors and patients alike, so they can make better informed decisions about medical diagnosis and treatment, as well as disease prevention. A bit later in the show, we'll have an on-location interview with Michael Deneen, who's the Director of Strategy Management for the U.S. Military Health System, but who will talk about a new type of organization in the civilian health sector called an Accountable Care Organization, which aims to provide a continuum of care even as the patient goes from one medical facility to another. But first, I'll be talking with Martin Entwistle, founder and CEO of a company called Enigma, which developed a technology to provide better information sharing between doctors and patients in order to aid in clinical decision-making. Enigma's technology was acquired by the Palo Alto Medical Foundation in 2008, and Martin now serves at the Palo Alto Medical Foundation as co-executive director of the David Drucker Center for Health Systems Innovation. He was also trained as a physician and orthopedic surgeon in the United Kingdom. Martin, what is your technology all about? How does it help the patients?
Essentially, the technology is about personalization. It's about taking all that myriad of information we now gather about patients through electronic health records, etc., and turning that into a program of care specifically tailored to their needs, taking into account their particular situation, the medications they may be on, etc. So it's about personalization being important for people to engage in their personal plan of care.
So this gives doctors a better view of the patient's medical condition so they can make better decisions?
Both the patient and the doctor and other people increasingly important in their ongoing management, nurses, case managers, etc.
Now let's say I were a patient at the Palo Alto Medical Foundation. Would I use the system myself?
Yes, indeed. The system is set up so that the doctors and nurses have one view and the patient has another, but it's a view of the same picture, if you will. So as a patient in the Palo Alto Medical Foundation, we provide an online personal health record, one of the first places in the country to do that, and now increasingly adopted elsewhere. And when you go into your personal health record online, you can see your plan of care around a particular disease or disease process, providing you this personal view of where you're at, the goals that you're targeting, your current situation, and advice around how you could improve your situation.
Does this give me better access to the doctors? Usually, if you have a question you want to ask a doctor, you might have to make an appointment and see him in person. Does this eliminate the need for that? Like you can access the doctor pretty much any time?
Well, that is part of it, although one of the objectives is to better share the care of an individual across a team. So you might actually see your doctor less. Now, that might sound a little bit negative, but the aim is that there are other people that can be part of your team and ongoing plan of care that are equally important. So you see the doctor when you need to see the doctor, particularly for the formulation of your management, changing your medications, etc. But when someone else is appropriate to help you keep with your program and keep with your goals, such as a nurse, that person would be in the picture. So it's about sharing and coordinating the care across that team.
So if I have a question, I would post the question through my computer, and then somebody would decide who to assign that question to?
Well, you're very much actively involved with the members of your team. You know who they are, and they've got ongoing contact and dialogue with you. But at one end of the spectrum, you have the system providing you advice on an ongoing basis, tracking how you're doing. Let's take an example. If you're a diabetic in the program, then we'd be collecting information about how you're doing with managing your blood sugar by collecting data from your home monitoring device, sending it up maybe through a wireless device so it becomes part of this picture. And then everyone can share and see how you're doing, including yourself. Knowing that you're on track or off track will then affect how people intervene with you. But the aim is to provide you information to help you engage and take responsibility for your care with people supporting you to do that.
Now, a lot of people seem to be getting into this business of medical information providing. In fact, We have a short video clip about Google Health, which is Google's offering in this market, a way of monitoring your own medical conditions. We're going to air that video, and then I'd like to ask you what you think of their approach. So let's go ahead and roll that tape.
Justine is 38 years old and works for a local nonprofit outside of San Francisco, where she lives with her 7-year-old son. Justine wants to stay healthy, but with so many responsibilities, she has a hard time setting up and maintaining her fitness goals. A friend at the office told her about Google Health. Google Health offers personalized fitness and health trackers and a host of integrated applications and devices that can help you better manage your health, from your diet to tracking your medications. You can even get customized articles and information based on your personal health summary. To try it out, Justine set a goal of running 5 miles every 2 days. She tracked her progress toward this goal in Google Health and used the personalized notes feature to jot down how she felt on each run. Seeing her improvement over time encouraged Justine to keep going and to set her goals higher as she realized she could meet them. She even signed up for a half marathon in her neighborhood. At the request of her doctor, Justine also started tracking her caffeine intake as well as her sleep patterns. Luckily, Google Health allows her to create trackers for anything she likes. Over time, the data in Justine's Google Health profile started telling a story. It looks like Justine doesn't sleep as well when she drinks more than 2 cups of coffee a day. For Justine, the information in her Google Health profile empowered her to keep running and make changes that helped her sleep and feel better. Health and wellness goals are easier to meet with accurate information at your fingertips.
So that was a video clip about Google Health. Now, what do you think of that approach? Would that be compatible with the approach offered by the Palo Alto Medical Foundation? Would this supplement it, or would you not need that if you were on the program at PAMF?
Well, in our own organization, we do pretty much all of that as part of what we do, providing the systems that we were talking about a few minutes ago. We saw some very important features there that I like a lot. You're seeing tools to help the individual engage in their plan of care. They can select the things that are meaningful to them, which are more motivational than just telling people to do things. We saw tracking of information so you can see your performance. All those are good and exciting things, but it's a system that sits apart from our doctors and our nurses. Google Health do provide interfaces to link it back to the medical record, but we've taken the track of building that functionality into what we do with our system. So the information of the type you saw there, the goals, the tracking, is there at our fingertips to help us day in, day out support that individual, the patient, as well as provide information to the doctors and nurses. Everyone's on the same page doing the same thing.
Well, one thing I liked about your system is that it sounds like, for the diabetics, the information is recorded electronically. It's automatic. The patient doesn't have to do anything. I'm wondering how many people would have the discipline to write down or to enter in their computer all this information every day, especially when they're feeling well. So it seems to me that the less you ask the patient to do, the more likely they are to do it.
Agree with that, yes. Our experience shows that making it simple to get the data in is going to make a big difference, because what people really want is the benefit of the data, the ability to see how well they're doing against their goals, not the labor of putting it in. But I think it's also important to recognize that these kind of tools don't suit everybody. What we're learning is that there are certain people of certain types that will engage with this sort of thing, but not everyone. So we have to have a flexible approach that suits different styles, different learnings, different approaches to how I see myself and my condition and my diseases, and how I want to manage them.
Now, the capabilities that you've described so far at the Palo Alto Medical Foundation, are these all things that are operational right now?
Yes, we have these operational. We've been building this kind of capability to go from the identification of risks, people who may be at future risk of heart disease, by way of example, to people who've actually got the problem, people who have got hypertension or diabetes. Because we're trying increasingly in this world to intervene early, prevent the problems before they become problematic. Those lead to admissions, obviously the downside to your own health of having that kind of problem. And if we can prevent it, so much the better. Of course, we can't prevent the problems for everybody. So when you start getting the problem, we need to be able to intervene and help and support and manage those conditions. We think of it as a spectrum. Individuals move over time up and down and around this space from needing prevention to needing management.
Are you thinking of adding additional capabilities in the future? I'm assuming the system is not complete yet.
It's always being developed. I mean, this is a very large area that we're trying to work in. And yes, we are. Recently, we added in taking this approach for teenagers, for example, trying to help identify issues that they may face. Some of them are the classic things about their behaviors, risky behaviors, etc. Of course, we're trying to encourage good eating habits and good exercise habits. And at the other end of the spectrum, we're very, very interested in seniors and how we can better manage seniors living in their own home. And so we're working hard now on improving our tools to tackle that end of the population.
Okay. We're going to move on to the next segment of our program. I recently spoke with Michael Dineen, MD, PhD, and Director of the Office of Strategy Management for the U.S. Military Health System, although we spoke about a new type of civilian health system called an Accountable Care Organization, or ACO. Dr. Dineen previously served as Director of Medical Services at the National Naval Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. A psychiatrist by training, he also served as a special psychiatric consultant to the Secret Service and the State Department, and he also has special expertise in military psychiatry acquired during the Desert Shield and Desert Storm campaigns. We've broken the interview into two parts. This will be part one of my interview with Michael Dineen. Let's roll that tape.